Greetings, everyone. So my name is Jen Myzel. I am the author of Yellow Lotus Flower, How One Lonesome Seed Rose Up from the Muck. And this slideshow is basically the birth story of my children's book, why it's so personal and related to me, and also just sharing about how I went and my team went from a vision to the earthly plane of this book. So I hope this can inspire you, and also this is really a thank you to a lot of the people who helped us along the way as well. So the story begins when I was in college, my last year of college. I just was so stressed and sick, physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. And I could not imagine that there could be a way out of it. I was just feeling really stuck in the muck, exactly like this seed. And it wasn't until after college I started educating myself about nutrition and herbal medicine and a few different healing modalities. And eventually, what really saved my life was shamanic energy healing. I worked with shamans who were in the Quechuan lineage from Peru, and I learned a lot about how to create boundaries, how to protect my energy field and my space, and just to learn how to work with that medicine. It was profound, it was powerful, because I wasn't finding the healing I was needing through the Western medical model, and I had tried that first. So I ended up at a course at the Omega Institute in upstate New York, and it was with these shamanic practitioners, the Four Winds Society, and I was learning a lot about my healing. And during the course, I went to the pond in the middle of the day and went for a swim, which is like one of my favorite things to do in the whole world, is go for swims in natural bodies of water. And maybe you could see it all the way across the pond on the other side, this little yellow flower. There was just one, and I saw her, and it was the yellow lotus flower. She was there by herself in the middle of the pond, and I just started really reflecting on the life of this beautiful flower, and that it came from and this was a mucky bottom pond, like weeds and slime. Most people wouldn't want to go swimming in it, but I'm unique. So anyway, the song came to me then. It just kind of came right through my being. That's how songs are for me a lot of the time. And I started singing it out loud. Yellow lotus flower, like the sun you rise up from the darkness. And the original words said, beyond grief is understanding, like the sun we rise up from the darkness. And there's little lotus girl and the seed still at the bottom of the pond, not knowing what to do. Eventually the words changed, but I'll get to that later. So a few years go by, I'm working in these different healing modalities, and I am eventually emerging from my dark night of the soul experience. And it was the hardest time of my life. I didn't know if I was gonna make it through. But once I did start making it through and feeling my feet back on the earth, it had changed who I was. And so I would never take back that experience. I think it was an initiation of sorts in a culture that doesn't have initiation embedded in it. And so I went through one in a really hard way, because we actually all need initiation. So if it's given to us in a good way by our community, I don't think you necessarily have to go through really painful ones, but that was what I went through. And so has become a big part of this story that I now get to pass forward. So in 2011, I moved to San Francisco. This is a year after college. Actually, I moved to California, not directly to San Francisco yet, or Oakland, East Bay. But I was in Nevada City, California. And in 2013, I recorded my first album, which is Family Tree. And the truth is, it's not my first album. So if you're listening to this and you know the name of my real first two albums, Garage Band albums only, and you're in the select few people who know them, you get a special prize if you can name the two names of my real first two albums in the comment section. Okay, but that said, Family Tree was my first studio album. And the first song on it was Yellow Lotus Flower. And people really loved the album, and especially kids were really loving the song Yellow Lotus Flower. I was kind of surprised because I thought it was about some difficult topics, but the melody was very light and bright, and people could relate to the story of the flower. And then I had an idea. That's a little creepy, I know. And the idea was, let's make this song into a children's book. Kids really like it, and it has beautiful imagery, and it follows an arc of a story, and it's such an archetypal story. It was around that time that I met this beautiful woman, Hilary Mendoza, who's a painter and a multimedia artist and an Ayurvedic practitioner. She and I were becoming friends. And I went to her house one day and I saw her artwork and I was blown away. It's so beautiful, her art. And it just touches on so many dimensions of the human experience and nature and spirituality and different religions. And here's another one of her paintings. And I thought that she might be the perfect person to do the art for Yellow Lotus Flower. So I gave her a CD and I told her to listen to the song, and she said that she cried a lot when she first heard Yellow Lotus Flower, and she felt like she needed to do this project with me. So I was really happy. And we came up with the cover image really early on of the sun and the lotus flower. And a lot of the original pictures, as you can see here, don't have the human character in them. There are a lot of lotuses on the pond and etc. And Hilary worked so hard on so many of the paintings that never ended up in the book. So here, just appreciate all the art that's out there, because basically none of it's in the final book, which was part of our learning process. Here was the original Lotus Girl, one of the first humans to make it into the book. So meanwhile, now we're like 25, we're in our mid-20s, we're working multiple jobs, moving around. I've moved now to the Bay Area, and Hilary's up in Portland. And I'm starting to research how to actually get a book published. So I'm going to book fairs and talks and just reading a lot and pitching the book to people at this book fair. I sent out 15 plus, acquisition letters to different publishers, and I basically got 0 responses. Maybe 1 or 2 said no thank you, and the other ones just nothing. And I've since learned that it is very, very difficult to get a book published like directly offhand. It's really helpful to have an agent. You almost kind of always need an agent. So we're working on that now, but that was part of the process. But I didn't give up. I kind of knew the chances weren't huge that we were going to get picked up, but I was hopeful. We had some, endorsements from Joanna Macy, which helped. So anyway, we're a couple years into this process of making the book, the art, the vision is there, the research. And it was around the turn of the new year in 2018. That's one of my best friends, Dominique. She's been by my side the whole way through. We went out to the ocean, and I was praying to the ocean and saying, this world is so effed up right now. What is the best use of my energy? Like, there's so many things to be doing. I want to be in the streets protesting for climate. I want to be building community. I want to help address the homeless issue in our state, in our county, and so many different things. And I just asked the ocean, what is mine to do right now? And I just got this clear message: finish that effing book. Do it, you know? And sometimes it's hard to validate the importance of art or making beauty when things feel so intense. But I really took it to heart that, you know what, maybe this story can help us through this birth, this dark night of the soul that we're going through as a country, as an earth, as a people. So on that day, I committed. I made a contract with the ocean, with the sky, with the sand, with the soil, that this book was going to happen. So, you know, we make the contract with spirit, and then we have to bring it down to the practical realm. And that's me eating a calculator, technically crunching numbers. So, you know, costs started adding up. Costs for paying the illustrator, costs for publishing, what else? For events, for marketing, for a graphic designer. And so it became clear we needed to run a Kickstarter campaign. We needed to do crowdfunding, and the goal was $15,000. I called upon a good buddy, Liam, with Cococo Chocolate, and they ran a really excellent Kickstarter campaign, raised a bunch of money for their business. Delicious chocolate. You should try it sometime. So he gave me advice. We started then filming the Kickstarter music video and Kickstarter video. Here's the music video. With intentional video with Athena and Eric Gam. And they are an incredible duo out of Santa Cruz. If you ever need some video work, they're so fun and awesome to work with, and professional and laid back all at once. So we geared up. We told our families and friends that the Kickstarter was starting soon, and please donate on the first day. Just give us a big boost. Our goal was to raise 1/3 of the funds in the first day. We threw a big launch party at the East Bay Community Space, and there's me and the Yellow Lotus Flower band, and it was awesome. I had so much support from my elementary school community, Crocker Highlands. A lot of those parents and kids were there, my family afar, and we did indeed raise over $5,000 on the first day, which was awesome. It was the best way to start off a crowdfunding campaign. I can't stress the importance of that, of kind of getting a really big push in the beginning. Here's another clip of filming with Athena and Eric, and this is one of my students and her moms. And then these are some of my other elementary school kids who did interviews for the book, and it was so fun to bring in my students. And then they started giving me feedback on the book too. And that was when I realized that the term grief is not so relevant to a second grader. And so I had to think about, you know, what's a more tangible word for grief or way of experiencing grief? And so it eventually just came to tears, you know. We know what tears are. We know what that feels like. Another person who was really helpful was Andrew Nance, who is the author of Puppy Mind. He was super sweet along this whole process and gave me some advice and feedback on the story. I recorded the song with Melita and Eva and Julie Morissette, whose pictures are for some reason not showing up, but you can just think about their beautiful faces. So re-recorded the song once we'd written all the new words, and writing new words was, you know, it was hard at first because I was attached to the song how it was, but eventually you let that go and then it's even better than it was before, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. So we're carrying on with the campaign, and it was rough. I mean, every day I was, calling and emailing, and it was fun but exhausting too, because in my personal life I was moving. I had moved 3 times during the campaign. It was nuts. I also had the unconditional love and support of my mentor, Joanna Macy, which was awesome. And then on Mother's Day during the campaign, one of my other besties, Erica Ben Moshe, gave away amazing skincare and aromatherapy products for people buying the book. It was so fun. I was there at her stand in Alameda with her. And alas, close to the last days, we made it. We surpassed our $15,000 goal, and it was awesome to feel the support of like 280 people who believed in the vision of the book. And I have to give a very special thank you to my family, because they probably all pledged 2 or 3 times because they're awesome like that. Mom and Dad, my sister and her family, the Herricks, my brother and his family, and my fiance Simcha. And they've all been the most helpful. I'm super grateful for the partnership I had with Hillary and a lot of the laughter that we shared along the way. And once the Kickstarter was done, it was go time in making the book, because now we had to finish that book and get it out to people by December. All right, what do you guys think of this? So I hope you can hear this audio, but I have a feeling you might not be able to hear it. Basically, I'm reviewing some of the lyrics and seeing if they make sense.
You know what a xylem is?
I've never made one of these videos before, so we'll see what happens. We also were mentored by Anna Aranda of the book The Chupacabra Who Ate the Candelabra. And she was awesome helping us with the art and what paint supplies to use. And she was a really great mentor for Hillary. We had so many helpers along the way. It was amazing. I mean, you can't do something like this without asking people who've already done it. I mean, you can, but it feels like impossible. So Hillary started reworking the art, and we realized that though all of the pictures were so beautiful, it wasn't feeling connected enough to a person reading it. There wasn't enough of a captivating story. So that was when we added Lotus Girl. And Lotus Girl is the human, the mama, the little girl who travels along with the seed and who ends up inside the seed, struggling through the muck and through the darkness. We specifically wanted to make her a brown-skinned girl because we wanted to say the point that when we're talking about the light and the dark, we're not talking about someone's skin color and what that says about their level of enlightenment or something like that. We really wanted to show all of humanity through this Lotus Girl, and that we all share this experience of going through transformation. So it was go time. Now we're in the fall of 2018, and our books are due in December. We hired Book Baby to put our book together, and unfortunately, we kind of have to give them a thumbs down because they were very slow and they wouldn't let us talk directly with the designers. We had a deadline, and it was such a back and forth process, and it didn't work for us. So we ended up having to cancel our contract with them. That said, we do really like the font and the way that they designed the book. We thought it was really creative and cute. And we never would have thought to put some of the words in bold like they did. So we're really grateful for that. So Book Baby gets a thumbs up for that. Ultimately, we ended up with a graphic designer named Bobby McGivney with Planted Sky. And we went with a small-ish scale printing house. It's not Amazon, but it's Frederick Printing in Colorado. And they were great. They were great to work with. So it's now holiday season, and unfortunately, Hanukkah was in the first week of December. Freaking Hanukkah this year. So we missed our Hanukkah deadline, but We got books out mid-December. We had a crew in my tiny apartment working till late hours of the evening. It was super fun. Eva and Natalie and Ben and Hillary. And there I am signing books in the corner there. And yeah, we got all of our perks together. It was really fun, and incredible what you can do these days. I bought stamps.com and we did all of our packaging from my house, and then we just brought it to the post office and sent it out. And anyone with a small business knows this, but I had to learn all of this stuff as we're going. So it's just been a huge learning curve. So at the same time that all the books started being sent out, we had all these events coming up, which was awesome. One of our first events was with Tandem Bay Area. And they are a nonprofit in the Bay who encourages early childhood reading. And they actually purchased 30 books for low-income families. And so I was able to give 30 hardcover books out that night for free, which was super awesome and so fun. It was my first event and everyone was really positive. I played some music and we did all that. Since then, we've had library shows, been at the Bay Area Book Festival, played a concert at a spiritual center, and had a show with the Thrive East Bay community. There's a show coming up that I'm doing with Charity and the Jam Band at Park Chalet in San Francisco. So the amount of opportunities this book is bringing in is really awesome. We've probably had 20 events so far, and I imagine it will continue into this year and the next and beyond. We're hoping to do more schools in the coming year. So now we're basically sold out of our first edition. Yay! We had an 850 copy print, and I have 10 books left, and I have 2 events coming up, so they're basically done. And the books are in 21 states, 6 countries, and this is all just out of my apartment. So the book's not even on Amazon yet or anything like that. So it's a great start, and I'm really excited. What we have coming up next is a second edition of the book. And the second edition, I'm working on getting it onto Amazon. There's going to be an ebook version of it. It's going to have a foreword by Joanna Macy, where she really talks about what this book means to her. And I'm really excited about that. You can pause the video if you want to read it now. There's also going to be a how to use this book page, because some people were confused about how to find the song and sing along. And there's also going to be an About the Author and Illustrator new designed page. So just the biggest amount of thank you to everybody in this that we showed in this video who, were all along the way with Hillary and I making this possible. And we have to also give a thank you to the unseen forces. We worked with the plant spirit medicine of Lotus. And it's not a psychedelic drug. Plant spirit medicine is a very subtle form of medicine, but we would put it in our water and take it regularly while we were creating the art and doing the logistics for this project. And it's beautiful because, I believe that the human and plant connection is profound and dates back to the beginning of humankind and plant kind. So it was really incredible to work on many different levels with this project. And now the book is out there in the world, and we don't always get to see or know what it's doing out there, but sometimes we do, and that's the best. This is a picture of a little girl drawing the sun, and I love it so much. It's so cute. Here is a picture of the second edition. It looks very similar, but it just says forward by Joanna Macy. So our next steps are basically getting the second edition out there. We are going to try to get an agent now to and maybe find a publisher. Now that the book is done, publishers can really see what our vision was. And if they like it, they can pick it up and add it to their collection. So that would be awesome. If you're a publisher listening to this, take a look at the book. So the other thing is we're going to work on getting it into local bookstores and different places who want it. It's already at the Diana Center in Sebastopol, so you can go check out the book there. And this is a place near me in Oakland, in Montclair, that we'll hopefully get the book into. So, in conclusion, thank you again for being part of our learning journey and for appreciating and supporting the art that Hillary and I have made. It means so much to us to hear from people and to just know that you're loving it and that you're sharing it. And it really takes a lot to make art like this. It takes a lot of dedication and time and focus. And we all know that being artists is not the most well-paid job in the world. But it's very gratifying, and it also is wonderful when people support us financially too. So thank you for everything you've done. And please be in touch because I actually have a new music project that I'm about to announce soon. Woo! And there's also another book, a sing-along book in the waiting in line, let's just say. But I do have to take things one day at a time. So yeah, you can go to my website, jenmyzel.net, to sign up for my email list. And then you can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram, Jen Myzel, Yellow Lotus Flower, and Hillary is Wild Magic on Instagram. So we hope you've enjoyed this slideshow and hearing about our story. Thanks for being here with us, and have a beautiful summer, or whatever season it is by the time you listen to this. Ciao.